Hello, my name is Jonathan Neufeld. I'm a clinical psychologist and the director of the Great Plains Telehealth Resource and Assistance Center at the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis. TTAC is your Telehealth Technology Assessment Center, and the folks at TTAC have asked me to talk a bit about telebehavioral health. TTAC has a lot of great resources on their website besides this video, so make sure to check them out at www.telehealthtechnology.org. Mental health services were some of the first telemedicine services ever provided in the late 50s and early 60s using two-way, closed-circuit, black and white television equipment. Today, mental health and substance use disorder treatments, which we often group together under the term telebehavioral health, are the most common type of live, interactive telehealth services. Telebehavioral health services usually require no more than a secure two-way video connection, and that's what I'll be focusing on today. There are, of course, peripheral devices to provide specialized images and sounds, like otoscopes and stethoscopes for medical services, but we usually don't need those for non-medical telebehavioral health services. If you'd like more information on those types of devices, you can find it in other videos in this series or on the TTAC website. There are many secure live video platforms that you can use to provide telebehavioral health services. The TTAC video conferencing platform review covers several of them. So let's talk a bit about what you need in a video platform and how best to use it. First, a word about privacy and security. Almost any professional quality live video platform will be adequately secure for providing telebehavioral health services. However, clinicians and clinical organizations need to use a platform that will sign a Business Associate Agreement, or BAA, with the provider in order to comply with HIPAA and high-tech regulations. Many available platforms will do this. Many free platforms, however, do not. Make sure the platform you choose provides an appropriate BAA. Most modern video conferencing platforms are software-based rather than device-based, and also web-based. This means that the main software is running on secure servers on the internet rather than on your local computer. And you can access the program using a smaller piece of software called a browser or client running on your local computer. Web-based platforms, when properly designed, are no less secure than on-premise or local video conferencing packages. So don't let that scare you away. Web-based platforms can be very flexible and perform very well in telehealth applications. And indeed, most live video today, including telehealth, is done using web-based platforms. Although you can use a web-based video conferencing platform with a cell phone or a tablet, they're often accessed using portable laptop computers. This is great for clinicians who are mobile, but I want you to also consider whether a more permanent system might work better in some situations. If you don't need to just grab it and go, you might be better served by a large, flat-screen monitor and a small desktop computer. You could even plug that laptop into a large monitor and get the same effect. Adding a USB webcam and a speakerphone can significantly improve both your picture and sound and ease the load on your computer's CPU. Now let's talk a bit about your office setup. When you set up your office for live video, try to keep windows and other light sources off screen. If the light is in front of you and facing you, rather than behind you, your image will look much better. Set up the screen so that the top of the monitor screen and the top of your head are at about the same level, and the camera is just over the top of the screen. If you're using a laptop, you might try putting it up on some books or boxes to raise it up to eye level. This makes the line of sight between you and the other user more level, and it gives you a much more intentional appearance, like you do this for a living. Keep the ceiling off the screen, just like you keep lights and windows off the screen. Keep the microphone as close to you as possible, and of course minimize extraneous noise in the office. This is another way in which a USB speakerphone can be helpful. And if there are still audio problems, even with a speakerphone, you can use a headset for better sound quality and privacy. frame yourself on the screen so that the top of your head touches the top of the screen, placing your eyes as close to the camera as possible. This will help give the impression of eye contact with your counterpart who's communicating with you by video. Sit back a little ways from the camera, at least out of bifocal range, like 3 or 4 feet if you wear bifocals, so you can look straight at the screen and the camera. The distance back from the screen will also minimize the size distortion that can happen as you gesture and move around. And speaking of gestures, use them liberally. Get your hands in the shot and use them to communicate and build rapport. A large, high-definition screen allows more screen real estate, which in turn allows you to transfer more information about you and your surroundings across the wire. Keep your background and setting simple and appropriately professional. You don't need to turn your office into a studio, but do think a bit about what you want in the shot and how your background adds to or detracts from the job you're there to do. As I said before, almost all professional video conferencing platforms will perform well and provide the quality you need. Some will demand more of the network, and some will demand more of the computers that run them. But those differences are often insignificant with modern computer hardware and average or better network connectivity. Where the platforms differ the most is in their interfaces, how they interact with users and other programs. They will all lay out their buttons and menus a bit differently on the screen and allow more or less flexibility in laying out the screen for the user. The self-view, where you monitor your own picture, might be stuck in one place, in one corner, or it might be movable or adjustable in other ways. The system might connect directly to your scheduling system or your EMR, or it might be standalone when you use a separate EMR platform. These are the most important things to be aware of in choosing a system, because they interact mostly with how you work. Of course, every system will require some training and some getting used to. So be prepared to spend the time it takes to get comfortable with your system. Your level of comfort and facility with the technology will generally be pretty apparent to others you meet by video. So it pays to develop the skills and the relaxed manner necessary to do your best work, regardless of whether it's live or by video. And finally, be sure to make yourself aware of any particular regulations or guidelines that your licensing board in your state has about using telecommunications technologies in your work. All licensed clinicians are obligated to know what the rules are and to apply them appropriately in your work. At a minimum, understand that professional services are legally defined as occurring at the patient's or recipient's location. So you must be licensed and/or credentialed at the patient's location and the facility in order to legally provide telebehavioral health services there. If you have more questions or you need assistance, we're here for you. You can find your regional telehealth resource center, as well as the experts at TTAC, by accessing the National Consortium of Telehealth Resource Center website at www.telehealthresourcecenter.org.